In this episode of Getting to Know the TS27, I'm talking about my career, losing my virginity, and encrypting Call of Duty. But if you have any questions for me for a future episode of Getting to Know the TS27, just leave it down in the comment section below. And also, you can leave a question for me and Ms. Schwantz, as we did a dual-com Q&A recently. So you could either ask a question for me or a question for the both of us, and we will answer them the next time that we do one of these videos. Alright, let's get into the questions here, and first is from Keenan Leggieri. I'm a young tech nerd, and I was wondering if you could do a video about your job. Do you like it? Would you recommend it? What do you do? Or just a commentary about careers? I don't know. I'll still love you if you don't make it, though. Well, Keenan, it is your lucky day, because I am loving you just like a porno star, and I'm going to answer your question here. So, I really enjoy my job. What I do is I am a software developer at IBM. Basically, what I do is the big giant mainframe computers that people use for cloud computing and that banks use to do transactions on and things of that nature. Like, whenever you go into a store like Walmart or Target and they ask you, you know, what's your phone number, what's your zip code, things like that, that data gets stored into a mainframe somewhere. So that's what I work on. I work on the operating system part of the mainframe, so the Windows, if you will, for a mainframe. So how I got involved with my job is that I took a computer programming class as an elective in 10th grade in high school, and I really enjoyed myself. So then I took the advanced placement class of computer science in 11th grade, and I ended up taking the AP exam. Actually, it was in 12th grade, I think. I was a senior when I took it. Anyway, I took the advanced placement, which is basically a college-level course, but you take it in high school. And if you take an advanced placement test, it's a grade out of 5, and if you score high enough and your college accepts advanced placement testing, then you could test out of classes in college and you can get credit towards it. So I ended up getting a 5 out of 5 on that AP test, so I tested out of Computer Science 101 in college. So I started off with Computer Science 102. So basically, how I got to the job that I have now is I chose a college, Marist College, that works directly with IBM. So I knew that I wanted to join IBM when I was going to college, and as I was making my decisions about which college or university I wanted to go to, I made sure that the university or college that I was going to had a good working relationship with an employer that I wanted to work for. Now, for computer science, unless you're in California or Silicon Valley, there's not really too much in other cities, although New York City is also a hotbed for computer jobs, but most of the other places, it's more of the IT or the hardware people that do things. I'm involved in the software role, so I do programming. In college, I learned C++, I learned Java, I learned many different programming languages. At IBM, they have their own made-up programming language, so I don't use Java or C++ in my daily activities. So it's kind of crazy to think that some of the skills that I acquired over college, I kind of don't have them as much anymore. I still know what I'm doing, and the computer programming language I use now is close enough to those where I could still get by, but that's one thing to consider. So if you want to go into programming or into computer science, things you have to be good at, you have to be very good at math, and you also have to be good at problem solving and thinking outside the box. And additionally, this might sound weird to you, you must also be good at a foreign language, because learning a computer language or learning a programming language is just like learning a foreign language. You just have to have different inputs and outputs, whereas with foreign languages, there's different words for different meanings, so you kind of have to translate from one language to the other, and that state of mind is what you have to do when you're programming. You have to say, well, this is what I want the program to accomplish, how do I get it to do what I'm saying in English? So that's kind of an overview of what I do. So I really enjoy my job. I have a few patents from working at IBM on various different beepity-bops that I've done over the years, so it is a very rewarding job, and if you enjoy computer programming and if you like problem solving like that, then it's a good field to get into. Plus, you get paid a lot of motherfucking money, son! Next up is I Plow Fat Apes. When did you lose your virginity? So I lost my virginity when I was 17 years old. It was August of 2001. I don't remember the exact day, but I know it's in that time frame. I had been going out with my then girlfriend for 6 or 7 months, and neither one of us had had sex before. We were both virgins, so we decided to go ahead and have sex. That was a decision that we had talked about because we were very open with, like, things that we wanted to do with each other. So that was something we had discussed, and we had never had sex before. We've done everything else, but never that. So basically how it all happened is that I had a 2-story house. I had a basement and I had an upstairs. And down in the basement, it was a finished basement, and it had pull-out couches and different things to sit on and lay on and sleep on. And then upstairs was my normal bedroom. Now, at this time, I had a water bed, which, believe me, is awesome for sleeping, terrible for fucking, because you have to slosh around and you gotta go with the fucking rhythm and the flow of the bed. It fucks everything up. Water beds, not that great for sex. Anyways, back to the story. So we decided to go downstairs in the basement and do it on this particular night because my dad was sleeping upstairs at the time, so I know we wouldn't wake him. So what I did was I put on some of that Kenny G, that smooth jazz shit, that panty dropper music, and to get us all in the mood, I lit some candles and shit. Nah, fuck that. I didn't do any of that. Basically, we just decided to do a little bit of foreplay and then go at it. Now, I had never shaved my pubes before this time. I had trimmed them up a little bit, but I went full-on, absolute shaved, nothing down there. So it felt actually really fucking good when, you know, all things were done. But the worst part for me was trying to put on the condom. Holy shit. It was so annoying, because every time I went to go put on the condom, I would kind of, like, you know, turtle back in, because you can only put a condom on a hard dick. If you try and put it on a soft dick, it doesn't really work that well. So that was the hardest part for me, was getting the condom on. But afterwards, it lasted maybe about 45 seconds or so. No, I'm just kidding. It lasted about like 5 to 10 minutes. It wasn't very long because, one, I wasn't going very fast due to the fact that my girlfriend had never had sex before, so I didn't want to hurt her vagine. And secondly, I had never had sex before, so this was a whole new world. So everything felt really, really fucking good. So it didn't last too long, but since my girlfriend at the time was into horseback riding when she was younger, there was no, like, blood or any disgusting shit anywhere, because I think her hymen had already broken from doing horseback riding, so I don't think that was anything. Either that or my dick is just not big enough to break hymens. What can I say? Although one of my other girlfriends later on in life used to call me Razor Dick, because whenever it was about the time when she was going to get her period, if she wanted her period to happen, then all we'd have to do is have sex, and then she would start bleeding. So that's why I got called Razor Dick. Next question from Flaw Engines Live. When is the next Schwantz Showdown? Now that my summer has opened up a little bit, June was an extremely busy month for me. I was away from home every single weekend in June for either weddings or parties or other events, but now that I'm home more often in the weekends during the summer, I might schedule one for August or September. So that's probably when the next Call of Duty competitive tournament's going to be. What is my favorite dish? I've answered this a bunch of different times. It is a Greek lamb gyro. Amazing. That is my favorite food to eat. Redix45, hey Schwantz, have you ever played any third-person shooters? If so, what's your opinion on them compared to first? I have not really played any third-person shooters. The only one that I've really played is Gears of War. I played the Gears of War beta that just came out recently, but only for about 15 minutes, and I was like, fuck this shit. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm terrible at this game. I'm not having any fun. So, in the future, if there's somebody there to help me out and teach me how to play Gears of War better, that is a game I think I would enjoy and I would like to get into, but I'm not much of a third-person shooter guy, and here's why. I don't find them very immersive. When I play, like, third-person Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, for example, because there is a third-person mode in MW3, it's not as good as the first-person version of the game, and maybe it's because I'm not used to it, but I don't feel like I'm in the game, and I don't feel like I am the character. So even when I do, like, racing games, for example, I don't like doing the third-person over-the-car view of when I'm racing around. I like to be in the cockpit when I'm racing, to be immersed in the game. So that's why I'm not a fan of the third-person shooters. The next question comes from the Mackle Project Xbox Infections. What is the main reason CoD is dead? The main reason to me is that the game is just not fun anymore. The fun factor is not there. There isn't crazy shit that you could do in the game. Black Ops 2, for all of its faults with being terrible on hit detection and connections and all the other gameplay mechanics that I did not like because they were broken, the game was at least fun when you could get your streaks going and you can get into the zone, if you will. Modern Warfare 3 with the specialist bonus was fun. You could get into the zone and shit. Modern Warfare 2, all the crazy ass kill streaks and the nuke. Everything was fun because everything was fucking overpowered. With the last couple of Call of Duty games, Call of Duty Ghosts emphasized gun-on-gun action, but the guns had way too high of damage, so the time to kill was really, really fast, and the maps were designed in such a way that catered to a meandering, camping kind of style. So that's why I think that game fucking died. It was absolutely no fun. That game is the most boring Call of Duty game to date. Even more boring, in my opinion, than Black Ops 1, which I thought was the most boring up until Ghosts. Like, the game was piss poorly designed. It was designed for people to play more tactically, aka boring, not fun. Advanced Warfare, it's chaotic. There's shit going around all over the place. There's people boosting around everywhere, and since the map flow is kind of broken up and completely random, it's hard to go on those streaks that make you feel invincible and make you feel like, holy shit, I'm having a lot of fucking fun in the game. So that's why I think Advanced Warfare isn't as much fun as the previous games, but it's definitely a vast improvement over Call of Duty Ghosts. I do like the fact that there's advanced movement and unlimited sprints, but I think that the maps could have been designed better in order to impede or to kind of funnel traffic in a much better system than having people double jump over you and come up behind you and shoot you in the back. It's a bit too chaotic, but it's a step in the right direction. His next part of the question is an interesting one. Would you encrypt the coding so it can't be hacked? Now, the reason why Call of Duty and games like this are hacked doesn't really have much to do with the coding of the game itself. It has more to do with the fact that people can hook in to the APIs between the Xbox and the code itself. So, for example, when you press A on your controller, there's an API that sends to the Call of Duty code that means jump, or whatever you map the button to in your settings, right? So that's where hackers can hook in and insert their code and alter the states of the game. Now, you would never, ever, 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 ever encrypt source code. It's a terrible idea. In case you ever lose that private key, you're completely fucked. You cannot make alterations or patches to your game. Secondly, if you encrypt the code, you're going to have to decrypt it every time that you make a patch and then re-encrypt it. And I don't know if you've ever encrypted your hard drive or if you've ever encrypted anything at all, but this is not a minute operation. This takes a long time and effort and CPU in order to do. Encrypting a game like Call of Duty, where there'd be millions and millions of lines of code, would take probably weeks to do because of the amount of code that was in there. And 3, nobody ever really encrypts source code. That's not something that people ever do. If you want to make your game hack-proof, you have to tidy up the interfaces, like I said before. PS3s are hackable because you could alter the configuration files within the PlayStation on the dashboard. And with Xbox, you can get a JTagged Xbox, which hooks in to one of Xbox's main APIs, because it's basically like a Windows operating system. So even encrypting Call of Duty source code wouldn't help the hacking problem, because there's much worse things that it can do once you actually encrypt it. You'd have to send out a public key to every single system in order to be able to run that source code. And most people don't ship source code anyway. They ship what's called object code, which is completely different, and it's generated by a computer. And if you want to encrypt that, it would take even longer, because object code is normally much bigger than source code is in terms of raw data. So I hope that kind of clarifies why you can't really encrypt coding for Call of Duty. It's a nice idea, but it's just not practical. And that's all the questions I have for today. If you have one for next time, please leave it down in the comment section below. Or if you want to ask me and Ms. Schwantz something, you could ask the both of us. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of getting to know the Schwantz 27, out like a boner in sweatpants. Until next time.